Come on, Igor. I've already pressed record now, so yeah, need to get on with it. I mean, I can keep them entertained for a little bit. My money don't jiggle, it falls. I've got it in my head now after we heard that. Oh man,
Good old Louis. Good.
you all right?
Louis.
You refreshed?
I am refreshed
Yeah.
indeed.
Did you just touch yourself up? Did you?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you look
Just
great.
Get the shine.
You look great. You put
Shine
your
off.
shirt on as well. I like
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Where are we at, Igor? This feels a bit. We haven't done one of these for a little while.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
me
been
and
a
you.
while. It's just-
We haven't been stood up, have we? That's not the
That's a good
case, is
thing.
it? This is planned. We wrote on our board at the very start, before we'd even started filming episode 1 of Another Idea. We wrote episode 10, kind of like a performance review. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to check in. We're going to just check in, and we put down, are we friends?
Are we still friends?
I think we're okay. I think we've survived, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's been a learning curve already. I don't know about you, but I still feel like I've got a lot to figure out and a lot to feel more. So that it still doesn't come naturally, does it?
Yeah. But it gets to the point of something that you said the other week that got me really excited. The fact that we'll be able to look back at these and just see the journey of how we have evolved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just simply as communicators, how we actually communicating our ideas and communicating them clearly, but as well as now hosts or interviewers.
Yeah.
Just learning how to listen.
Yeah.
and
I've definitely noticed the dynamic shift.
Yeah.
When you bring another person into the room, and there's 3 of us, having that conversation there's a lot going on.
yeah,
And actually, it's really made me realise that the art in anybody that's able to really take on board what somebody's saying and to keep listening, but to also at the same time formulate a really clear and concise question and deliver it in the right way. I don't feel yet as though we're there I certainly don't know.
No, I agree.
This is the thing. I can't remember what you say in those episodes. I'm just so focused on what are they saying?
Yeah.
What do I need to ask?
Yeah.
That I'm almost switched off to you.
and also as well, if you have a question in mind and the guest might answer that question that you have in mind to impart, so you're kind of like kicking yourself a little bit, but at the same time there's a point that you want them to get into, and communicating that and how to get them to get into that point, or how to draw that out from the guest.
We do a bit of homework, don't we? We do a bit of prep.
Oh, yeah.
But I suppose it's kind of like, I'm starting to realise now that it's kind of a bit like us going to weddings and doing our job at weddings, is that you can have a kind of loose idea of what it is you want to create, but ultimately, once you're on that roller coaster of a wedding day, you're on the roller coaster of a wedding day, aren't you?
And there's no
and
stopping.
you have to kind of just roll with it and react and move. And I think that's the one thing that I think we're finding. I'm finding just a bit more challenging. But again, it all comes back to this whole point that we keep making of, right, let's just trust in the process.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be perfect off the bat, but what we have done, I would hope what the people listening to it and watching it are going, no, I really like it.
Yeah.
The feedback's been great. People have really enjoyed it, and people have put some amazing things out. So to anybody that's shared it on social, to anyone that's told their mates, thank you very, very much. Like, it genuinely is appreciated. We're not sat here for a second thinking, oh yeah, we've got a podcast. We're doing great. We're learning on the fly.
Yeah.
And we're trying to implement the advice that we give to other people, which is like, you've just got to get on with it and do it.
Yeah, that's it.
And things will change and evolve, and we'll switch things up. We've already learned some things. We've got somebody coming on board very soon to help with the social side of things, which is exciting.
Yeah, and again, it's us implementing those sort of like lessons learned, really, because the more we've done this for what? When did we actually start recording?
It was
November.
Before, it was
October?
November, December 2021.
Okay. So it's been a little while, and we've learned that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of hard work, and it's not just the hard work that you put into it, it's the editing afterwards as well, and creating the thumbnails and everything else. And the point mainly is that it'll be amazing to see how bringing someone else in will sort of like elevate things, and hopefully you, the audience, will be able to see that.
We want to be able to get, one thing we've struggled with is just getting out like little sound bites and the little kind of promotional parts of the episodes to get people to be able to, to share content and to reach a bigger audience, because we've said from day one really that the long-term plan for this is to be able to kind of build a bit of a community for people, so that anybody that's sat at home or in their office on their own or in a team of people, wherever you might be listening to it, that are kind of they're able to relate to what we're saying, and they're kind of going, that's how I feel about stuff, that's how I feel about education or being self-employed or being creative, and providing that community. But at the same time, we need to, at some point or another, let's not beat about the bush, we need to monetize it a little bit. We're going to have to, if we want to keep this going. We can't just do it for a laugh. Like, I have a great time, Igor. I love it. But we do. We
said it from the get-go, didn't we?
We're taking staff on now. So we're not far off being able to say, right, we really need to get some sort of sponsors on board. So, and again, that's kind of why we come back to the point of like, thank you to anybody that does share it, because it does help. It helps us get it to a bigger audience. I know you want to keep it to yourselves.
See what you did there.
But please do share it. So thank you very much. Today's episode. So it's a little bit of a review, isn't it? We're having a bit of we spent a little bit of time earlier, didn't we? Just after lunch, over lunch actually, just going through the first 3 guests we've had on board already, and just talking about what we enjoyed about them and what we took. We'll play a couple of little sound bites from them, show you guys a little bit of what that episode was about. If you haven't heard those episodes, then it will give you an idea as to what they're about. And if you're new to the podcast here and this is the first time listening, it will give you a really good kind of overview of what we're about and what we're trying to achieve. So
going back
kick us off.
Yes, in a second.
Kick us off in a bit, Igor. Let's just
it was one of the points that I was going to say, but I completely forgot.
See, I feel more comfortable when it's just me and you sat here now. Do you?
We're convoying. We're having a conversation, and it's nice. And
I like it.
I bet you missed this, guys. I bet you missed this. Just the 2 of us. But no, the point was that yes, even though we've been going for well over 6 months, whatever, what blows my mind is that people are still finding us for the first time.
It's happened yesterday. Somebody shared it on Instagram, didn't they? And we were like, they're on episode 2. And I guess because in my mind we are like episode 10, episode 11, whatever, and it just sort of like blows my mind a little bit that people are sometimes only just finding us, if you know what I mean. I mean, we do only have about 500 followers on Instagram, so we haven't made the big leagues yet.
And I don't say that from the point of in terms of like the numbers or anything like that, but just from the point of, this will always happen. People always will go on that journey of who are these guys? And that blows my mind. The fact that people will always be at completely sort of like different levels in terms of how they see this, really. So being a little journey. So
I mean, we haven't looked too much at the numbers, have we? We've been kind of focused on just getting the content out and trying to deliver on the kind of content that we want to provide to our audience. But we've checked in a little bit with where Apple and Spotify say we're at, and it's interesting to see the uptake on certain episodes.
That's it.
But we live in a huge market, and go on.
All that to say that if this is your first time here, welcome.
Great to have you on board.
Welcome.
I've got a stat that'll blow your mind, actually.
Okay.
And just whilst we're on the numbers game, so I was at a wedding last week, and the bride Jess had lived in New York, and she told me that in every square mile of New York City there are 27,000 people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say rats. 27,000 people.
I mean, she probably described it a little bit like living like a rat. She didn't speak too highly of it, but that made me go, wow, every square mile. I don't know if it's true or if it's just been, kind of
makes sense if you think about it, especially New York. It's skyscraper city, so it kind of
it does blow your mind, doesn't it?
I believe that.
It's an incredible stat.
Yeah. So we got to
we need to really build on those people. We need to build on those 500 followers we've got, Igor. Come on. Right. Okay. Today's episode. Let's go then. Come on.
first guest that we had over was the amazing Sophie Passer.
Yeah, from Black Velvet Styling.
Boom, boom, boom. And yeah, she was great. I absolutely loved it. I loved her energy. I loved how, this is it. I loved how she knew her stuff. How she really knew her stuff.
Without doubt, she was as switched on and as savvy from a businessing to making up words, Igor, business and marketing side of things that you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely loved that. And you could tell that she was strong at it, and she loved it itself. And it just instilled the importance of really being strong at marketing for me. Like, seeing that, I was very much like, wow, I really admire that about you, and I want that for myself.
Do you think it goes to show just how important marketing is? You know, we look at people in our industry, in our sphere, that, you know, I get asked all the time, how do you make this channel work for you? How do you get bookings? How do you get that volume of inquiries? And it only ever happens through marketing efforts.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we asked her, one of the questions was how much of her working day or week is spent on marketing, and it's like 90%.
Yeah.
The bulk of her work is marketing. Yeah, but without that, she makes no sales.
Yeah. No, I agree. So what clip have we got for?
Well, let's roll. We're going to play a little clip.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back.
Okay.
And we'll have a chat about it.
Okay.
Something I would say as well, a lot of people, when they go into either a handmade or quite a personal product, when it's not going well or they're not getting the sales, they focus on the product. And it's like, your product's probably fine. And as a product designer, we want perfection. But as a product consumer, 80-90% is probably okay. Do you know what I mean? So I always think your time's better spent learning about business and marketing. And if something's a bestseller, it's probably going to be a bestseller for a long time, because your market isn't stagnant. Like, people are moving through life and developing hobbies and changing their work.
It's never
constantly.
ending.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
One of the marketing books, I can't remember which one I read recently, was like, you're preaching to a moving parade. So don't think, like, because I've got a really old advert that people must be so annoyed with. Like, it's got music on it and everything, but it still converts. It's been going for about 18 months, but it's still got a really high conversion. So I'm like, I hate it, and I know everyone must just be like, they've seen it so many times, but there are still people coming through
the sales
that haven't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a really big lesson, isn't it? That people haven't seen that before. I think we could apply that to our industry. You know, in terms of the work we show. I think a lot of photographers don't want to show images that they took 4 or 5 years ago because they're fed up of seeing that image from 4 or 5 years ago. But to a lot of people, that's the first time they've seen it. Yeah. And I think about people that have signed up to the course. I've done workshops and education for 4 or 5 years, but on the last intake, there were still people that had just started. They'd just come into the industry and they want that content.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, I'm sure everyone's been on my course now, but they haven't. They haven't. There's constantly a new wave of people coming through.
Are you doing any paid advertising yet?
No, we're about to.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll be coming down to have a chat with you and kind of pick your brains on where do I put my money? Because I know Google.
Well,
we've talked before, haven't we, briefly about, you know, Google ad spend and how have you found that kind of experience? I know we touched on it briefly at the start in terms of in terms of what you struggled with, but like how successful has it been in?
It is
in parts?
Definitely successful. The return on investment is between 4 to 5, whereas Instagram and Facebook might be like 1 to 3.
Wow,
because
that's massive.
Yeah, because on Google people have typed in something they're searching, whereas on Instagram or Facebook it's more placement. They've shown a slight interest in photography, so let's pop this up. Maybe they've searched online for something else, and then it's going to be like a banner ad because of the cookies and keywords. But yeah, Google, bigger return but more expensive. If it depends on your competition for your keywords. Yours is probably high when in photographers. But I would say, like, play around. So our conversion rate is like maybe 4 in London compared to between 0.5% and 1% the rest of the country. So we weight it towards London now. There's always bits of insight you can.
And they're things that you're going to learn over time, aren't they? You wouldn't have known that until
You would
you've
think
got
it might
the
be
data.
obvious, but yeah.
And you have to try it. Some things will surprise you, won't they,
Yeah.
over time?
Yeah.
And do you tend to sort of like run ads multiple time, or would you
They're always going,
always going multiple
constantly,
time?
every day.
Amazing.
Yeah. Although, and this is something like I was doing work on our Google ads before I came up here. Our Google man who does it, he's like on
I love
retainer
that.
monthly.
Google man.
Google man.
Can we have your Google man?
You
We
can.
need
I
that
do
Google
recommend
man.
him. Wendy's got him now, I
Okay,
think.
great.
He is awesome, and I'm not about to slate him, but he's a Google person. This is a failure on me. And I said to Graham upon last night, make sure I learn even just the basics of every area of my business, because I put Google in his hands. And data-wise and everything is brilliant. But the adverts we're running say things like, great quality backdrops for all your photo shoots or something. And it, like, I'm learning about advertising copy and
It lacks
psychology
pizzazz.
and stuff now. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. Everyone says their product's great. You haven't said anything. You've just wasted space. So I'm going back, kind of rewriting it all, looking at all the headlines and descriptions and everything, knowing what works on Facebook and Instagram, because I craft those ads. Whereas, what an idiot! Why have I just left it in the hands of someone else? Like, and we spend, like I say, thousands every month. But what he does, like his analytics and his how he reports things and keeps up to date with everything, is brilliant, and I would still recommend him. But know what's important to your clients. He doesn't know my business. He doesn't know that it's important for people to know, as used by Jamie Oliver and BBC Good Food, or the UK's biggest selection of in-stock backdrops, or ordered before 1pm for next day delivery. This is all things that people need if they've got a shoot and they want to be told straight away, well, they use this, so it must be good.
She's great, isn't she?
Yeah, she's
Love
amazing.
Sophie. She was brilliant. Just that idea that you're always preaching to a moving audience or a moving crowd, you know, that people are moving through life, and there's always, you know, like you said it at the start, like, you know, people are finding this podcast at certain stages of their business and their life and their development. You know, it's the same with every one of us in business. You know, there are always new people coming into the industry and moving through it, either as a consumer or as a supplier.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, is that? I mean, that was the clip we chose. So I'm assuming you agreed that was the that was a standout. But was there anything you want? What was it that struck a chord with you on that? Is it a little bit different for us now because we're starting to move into an education world as well as
Yes.
just being a service based
Yes.
supplier? You know, we both now have products to deliver.
So for us, it's very relevant, isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
And literally in my mind, I was sort of thinking, so how could we apply this for someone like a wedding photographer that has sort of like clients that are perhaps one-hit clients, or
Yep.
not even necessarily one-hit clients. We could sort of like, I need to learn. I'm teaching myself to think that no, they're not one-hit clients. They can come back for other specific things, but how do we apply that for wedding photographers? And what I had in mind was just the whole idea that we, even though we are wedding photographers, and even though you might be a wedding photographer that's only been shooting for 1, 2, 3, 5 years, okay, but even though you're not in the education game towards other photographers, what I think that as photographers we should be doing is very much educating our couples. So, just me riffing and thinking.
you riff, you go.
But I very much think that it is an audience. Couples are an audience, and we as photographers, even though if you are a photographer for 1, 2, 3 years, whatever, you've already established certain expertise, and you can teach those expertise to couples, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that could be your moving audience, that couples are constantly coming into your website because you created, let's say, an incredible guide on how to organize your wedding or how to create a timetable. That's simple, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that would be a way of bringing a moving audience or growing audience really to
Yeah, I
your
think that,
business.
yeah, absolutely. I think
that makes sense.
from a product point of view, what Sophie said was absolutely spot on. I
Yeah,
do think
100%.
like from a service-based industry and especially a service-based industry that has a high-ticket item that is generally a one-off purchase, it is a little bit more complex in how we apply it to that industry. But I think from my point of view, if I think about people that are wedding photographers or suppliers, it's just having that awareness of once you've done your job for your couple, that couple still are able to market for you and to, even a year, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, there will be people that come into their world that are going to find out about them, and they might ask, I want my couples that I shot 4 or 5 years ago to meet people in 2 or 3 years time and go, oh, we had this guy's photographer.
I
Who's
know
great.
exactly who.
Yeah, that's what I
you.
want.
Yeah,
Because that's, just because you've done your job, your marketing doesn't always just have to be, I need to appear at the top of Google.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So,
and another point that I really, really loved about Sophie, which I think was one of the main things, really, just the importance of growing your audience.
Yeah.
Growing your audience and being quite close to it through your mailing list.
Having control of your audience.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
Owning your audience, I think was the big one, wasn't it?
That's the one. That's the one. Owning your audience. So well said.
One of my friends who runs a design agency for the last 3 months has not been able to access Instagram, and it's not vital to his business. He, he's okay. Like he has a strong business away from that. It doesn't rely on it, but it did make me kind of go, what would happen if I got locked out of Instagram or somebody hacked my account and I had to start from scratch again?
Yeah.
What would happen? That would be tricky. So, but again, talking to Sophie, it just made you realise, God, no, actually, the power of a mailing list is huge. Maybe it wasn't as... I always thought a mailing list would be a good thing to have as a business, but talking to Sophie just made me realise just how important that is.
Yeah.
How huge that is to be able to just reach out to your audience and be in control of that audience, and that Facebook or Instagram can never take that away from you.
Yeah.
You own that list.
Yeah.
Whether, in years to come, Instagram and Facebook move to this, platform where, you own your audience, which I believe has been touted recently, that may or may not happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for now, it doesn't. Just being able to kind of, just reach your audience that are invested in you. And like, I think we talked about it in the episode, like, if somebody signed up to your mailing list, they're a bit more invested than just a like or following you on Instagram. They're more invested in you as a brand.
Yeah, yeah. They're willing to have emails from you.
So
yeah.
If I could rewind the clock sort of 5-6 years before I even got into education, I think that would be just putting a mailing list sign up on your website would be something that if I could action anything tomorrow or tell anybody to action anything tomorrow in our industry, it would be just do it. Just see who starts signing up, and
you got nothing to lose.
You might not do anything with it for the next 6 months or a year, but you never know. Yeah, it was a great episode. Really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that she agreed to come up here, and we talked about wine and tennis as well, didn't we? Which is nice.
It was good.
Then we had Ben.
Ben.
Are you over Ben now? Is it all right? Are you okay?
It's still in my heart. I still.
Did you get?
I close my eyes and I can see him.
Did you get your signed picture of him?
That is so funny. I think Sam's jealous, everybody. I think Sam's jealous.
No, it's not. I'm all right.
I call him my husband these days, just to let you guys know. That's how close we are these days. But yeah, Ben.
Well, you did actually send me a picture of your daughter the other day. You were meant to send to your wife, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and I said, I send it to my husband instead. So yeah.
Ben Edmonds, Block Knives.
Yeah.
BLOK Knives, in case anybody wants to check him out.
Yep.
Just a fantastic brand. I love so much about Ben.
Yeah.
For me, he epitomizes just that idea of just going, do you know what? I'm going to give it a shot.
Just
like,
go
Ben will not look
it.
back in years to come and go, oh, I wish I'd have done this. Which I think so many people are guilty of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I get really frustrated by anybody that says, oh yeah, I've got this idea, I'm going to do that. And then you see him a year and a half, 2 years later, and you go, oh, how's that thing go? Oh, I've not done it. Never done it.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas Ben, he started it 2 weeks ago. He's just going for it. He was an absolute whirlwind, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's so much energy as well, and you could tell that he is passionate about what he does, and yeah, you sense the creativity using from him, really. And yeah, that really inspired me. To sort of like, I'd rather much be someone that is constantly trying to be courageous about the ideas that he has and push him forward. Might fail.
Well, he did fail.
Yeah, exactly. I might fail, but at least I pushed it and I tried and I learned from it. Moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, that was great. That was a really big takeaway for me. And also I think he touched on a point about what we all did, about how the standard of content that we all consume now is so high that it almost stifles and strangles anybody kind of going and giving anything a shot. You know, we've talked about it as coming into the world of podcasts and YouTube, and obviously we're fortunate enough to have access to good kit and to allow us to produce a high level of standard, but there are people out there that might watch this and go, I could never do that.
Yeah, you definitely can.
And you can. You
can.
Just have to make it the start. You know, I look back on where we started as photographers. Like, if I'd have constantly consumed content, the kind of the work that we produce now, it would have scared me. I'd have been like, no, I could never do that. But you learn so much more. We have learned so much just through producing and editing just and shooting these first 10, 11 episodes of this podcast. Yeah. That it really is. If you know, this podcast might not even start for another 10, 20, 30 episodes. We just, you know, this is our learning curve, isn't it? And we're figuring things out. And if we can bring value and stories to people now at this stage of the business, then great. Yeah. Winner.
That's it.
But yeah, I love that. That was great.
Just by that alone, literally, as you said, the pros outweigh the cons so much more in terms of like getting off your butt and just doing it. You might fail, but doing it because you learn something from it. And this is what we're doing now.
But the clip we've chosen from Ben is this little clip.
They're the 4 sections of the business. I want to drive them all together. How do I know where we're at now, and I know where I want to be. Let's actually put some plans in place to get there, because I've never done that.
You almost need to sort of just step back from it a little bit.
Fully.
Step back and just look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And
I think appreciate what I've got.
Yeah.
And appreciate the time, the effort, the hard work that's gone into it so far. But then also go appreciate that I can't, if I'm going to take it seriously, I can't do it all on my own.
I think we're all guilty of that, though, aren't we? Just getting the head down and getting on with it and just running and just moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And we talked about it in one of the early episodes about how COVID made us kind of stop and just recognise where our businesses are at. And hence why this podcast has been born. Really,
just start to pivot
But you've got the amazing, such an amazing foundation for to kick on and go.
That's it. It's been 10 years in the making now. So if I can't make something work from this, I'm screwed. But yeah, that's the plan. Is take it seriously now and see what actually happens. Yeah,
it's amazing. And in terms of like the business, in terms of those sort of like let's call them 4 pillars really. In terms of income that you bringing in, what sort of like the percentages that you're seeing at the moment? Is it sort of like 50% knives, 20% whatever else, or what sort of like? Just give us an insight.
I'd probably say 60% knives at the moment, and then 20% smokehouse, 20% customs, and then the other bits again are just. So what I want to do is bring those up at the same level. So there's I can see the value in, like we talked about the smokehouse being a fortnightly thing that people look forward to. I don't want to run that every day. I don't want to run it every week. I want to keep it at that. However, what else can we do
in order to scale that up?
Scale that up, and then you start talking about, well, everybody goes, that sauce is amazing. You need to sell it.
Yeah.
All right then. Yeah, okay. Fine. Let's find somebody. Let's make the sauce.
Let's Levi Roots this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And why not? Yeah, it's a real brutal market to be involved in, but we make a nice barbecue sauce. So why not try
and we have to look at, like, you know, the branding and the aesthetic of your brand as well.
Yeah,
has established itself incredibly well. Like, it's performed.
Yeah,
people are drawn to it because of that.
Yeah,
and why couldn't you?
Why not now use that 10 years of?
And also, like, even like the custom built smokehouse stuff. Now you only have to look at just the absolute boom in, you know, outdoor pizza ovens. In the UK in the last year or so, to go, hold on a second, there are people want this in their garden, don't they? You know,
exactly. I mean, we built the first custom offset smoker 2 months ago. Sat Baines brought that.
Amazing.
So, you know, he's best chef in the country, just awarded. He's got 2 Michelin star restaurant, and out the back in his garden next to his smoking thing is our smoker. So that for me is kind of just going, well, he wants it, we should be all right.
What's the retail price for a smoker? What's that?
They're coming in at just under 3.5.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? It's steel costs. It's all handmade by us in a workshop.
They look incredible.
And they work
beautiful.
They work fantastically well. Again, they look pleasing to look at, because it's a thing that you're going to have to look at all the time. That's it, isn't it? But they smoke really well, and it's a nice usable product. So we're going to extend that, you know, with the barbecue side of things, all the functional things you can cook on. But the custom side, we've always kind of dabbled in anyway. We've just never advertised it. So we've built tables for Sat Baines. You know, we've built menu holders, candle holders, wine troughs. We've done all of this
Everything.
stuff. I've just put a big quote in for Lawrence Henry. He won MasterChef 4 years ago. He used to work at Sats. He's got a £30 million restaurant bill going up in Nottingham at the moment.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Incredible. But I went round there a couple of weeks ago, and look at the building. It's stunning, next level stunning. But, you know, he wants charcoal oven. I don't build charcoal, but we can build one. He wants Conroe grills. He wants taco holders, meat skewers. So we basically anything front of house custom that he wants building that's just not from.
You can't do all this on your own.
No, exactly, physically impossible. So now we've got somebody dedicated to just do the fabrication side of things. So this is what I mean. It's slowly just realising where those people need to come in, what part they're going to play, and just try and push it all together at the same time.
I love the idea of just slowly, not even slowly, but just raising those 4 dials one by one to the point that they actually get nice and equal.
Yeah, that's the idea. I don't want anything to subsidise, and
So we've got these 4 pillars that you want to build your business upon, really. Obviously, with all that you've said, you will have to bring more people in and sort of like scale back yourself. How are you going to do that?
Can you let go?
That's the question, isn't it? I think it gets to a point where the realization kicks in that if you want to make that jump, that leap, you have to let go. And there's always, as long as you can understand that no one else is going to be as mentally passionate about that thing as you are, then you're off to a fighting chance, I think. Because if you make the assumption that people are going to be as into it as you, you're going to be let down, aren't you? That's I think that's the crux of it. Is I've created this over 10 years, and it has been the most stable thing in my life for 10 years. Everything else has been, but I've always fallen back on. I can rely on Block. That's never going to let me down because it's always been in my control and it's my baby, and that's it. That's mine. Yeah. Now, someone else is going to come on board. Then it's not going to be them. It's not going to be, they're going to want to put the work in, but they've not created this thing.
They're not going to take it home with them.
Yeah. No, they're going to, you kind of want people to be passionate. You want people to. So I'm trying to handpick people now that I've worked with for a bit or known for a bit that I think can bring value to a different area. So each person requires, each area requires a different person. I've got to be very picky about, who those people are for different reasons. But then I've also got to understand that it's never going to be how I view it. Yeah. And that's the bit I think I'm letting go of is that, yes, it's mine. Yeah. Give them a bit of an incentive to work at it. Because, you give ownership. So I'm giving away some ownership of Block. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving a percentage. And I always thought, no, it's all mine. I'm going to keep it. I've worked for it. Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah. But you can see the bigger picture now. You're starting to see the bigger picture.
But now,
right?
I'm like, if I surround myself with these people for these different areas that and I can give them an incentive that's as big as, this is a thing that I've built for 10 years and I'm proud of, but I'm willing to give you a piece of it to come on board and drive that area.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think recruitment's pretty key, isn't it?
Yeah. I was going to say that I think as well as creatives, and especially as photographers as well, just to bring it to our sphere, in terms of like having to let go of, let's say, edits, or having to let go a specific portion of your business in terms of like bringing a PA in or a VA, whatever you want to bring in, there's got to be that sense of having a certain type of strength in order to kind of like hold your hands up and sort of say, it's my time, and if I want to gain that time back, I just got to let go.
Yeah.
I just got to let go and be able to scale it in different ways.
Yeah, but it allows you to grow and build your business.
Exactly.
Like when you're constantly swamped with the day-to-day tasks of your business.
Yeah.
Exactly what we've talked about, being able to like step back and see the bigger picture. Like you can't ever do that when you come in the office and you're going, right, I've got all this to get on with today. I've got so much to do. You're slammed. But you're never going to go anywhere. You're always swimming against the tide. Right?
Yeah, you're always firefighting, aren't you? You just act. You're reacting to tasks that are placed in front of you, but you're not being proactive. I've found that I'm just constantly. I go in and I go, right, I've got to do that. I try and write a list every day, like a brain dump of just going, right, these are the 3 things I want to achieve. This is all the crap that's on my mind. Yeah. And this is how I'm going to plan my day out. I don't even get to that stage. Because by the time I'm sat there, I've dealt with that. I've done this and I've dealt with that, and I'm all over the shop. But yes, I think I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with people that are better than you at what they do. And I think,
hey, we talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah.
But it's true, isn't it? Like
it is.
I would happily admit that Jack's a better knife maker than me. By default, now he's made more knives, and he's fantastic at making knives. Now, is my benefit for block knives and the bigger picture of block knives to stand in that workshop and make knives 8 hours a day? No, it isn't. No. Do I want to stop making knives? No, I don't. But I want to make less knives, and then okay, so the custom fabrication stuff is my benefit. Welding mask on, welding metal all day. No, it isn't. I can get somebody to do that better than me, but my job then becomes the ambassador for the brand, the business, going to see these people, going to nurture the relationships that I've spent 10 years growing, and that's me. That's what I do.
Yeah. Like, how far afield do your knives go?
Oh, all over the shop. They're all over the shop. Yeah,
we're not just on this little island, are they?
No,
they don't just go to.
No, because we once messed up a delivery. Japan and America, and Jack sent one to Japan that was ready to go to America. I was like, could you have gone further apart, mate? Come on, do you know what I mean? But yes, they're going all over the shop, and there's so much scope. To go,
and same with the smokers as well. Like, there's nothing to say that people in America. Customers in America won't want those products.
Yeah, I mean, they're big over there. They're not so big here, but they're now starting to. It's the new thing, and everyone's like smoking mad, and it's brilliant. So, but that's not going to stop us just to be UK based. And as a brand, I think a brand can go anywhere you want it to go, can't it? That's the, you look at Deus or Juice or however you want to say it. Everybody thinks that's a clothing brand, because it's sold in nice clothes shops now. It didn't start off as they make motorbikes, but now they've got restaurants that surfwear, push bikes, motorbikes, clothing. They've taken that as a brand and they've gone, where do we want to be with this? It's all relative.
Yeah,
it all makes sense when you look at it. It's not confused. You go on the website and you go, this is nice. This makes sense.
It's a great business template, particularly for you.
Exactly.
Like, there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah. And that's what
there is no way that whoever's formed Deus. Or Juice. I go Deus.
Yeah, Deus.
But there's no way that whoever founded that company is still just doing the day-to-day menial tasks of that business. It's just
we've got a comment on the website. You know what I mean? You can't manage it.
I'm going to put a post out on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just physically you have to outsource those tasks.
But then,
in order to grow.
But then your time then has to change from actually putting in the structure to allow other people to do that stuff for you. And that's what I'm realising now. That stuff takes a hell of a lot of time.
Though, how exciting is that though?
Yeah.
Like that, like hearing you talk about that and the potential of your business and where it could go. Exciting.
Let's go!
I'm like, come on, right? We need to do that.
What are we doing next?
But it is, but the value now is in my time not just focusing on that, is focusing on how we can allow other people to do that, and that's and sometimes you think, is that a waste of time? If I get an apprentice, I've got to spend so much time doing that. But actually, the outcome after that initial investment of time in somebody is that then you've got this whole portion of time back now. So what do we do with that? And then you build it again and you go again. So I think, that's the key is putting the structure and the template down for how you see it moving forward.
What do you make of that, Igor?
That was really good. Really, really good. It's just, for me, it just encourages me really to get a good team together around you and let's go and just charge.
You okay? Yeah? Going into battle.
But you chose this clip and you had a really good point that I really didn't think about, the whole 10 years thing.
Yeah.
So just break that down.
There was a line, I think it was along the lines of him saying, I've been in this for 10 years, but now what if I do this? What if it was almost like he'd not taken it seriously for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's obviously worked incredibly hard. He's built an incredible brand and a great product. But I think he kind of referenced, because it's a job, it never felt like a real job. Mm-hmm. It's something that was born out of a passion and something that he's just enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
That it's never really felt like a serious business.
Yeah.
Which just made me kind of go, I can relate to that so much, because me and you both got into photography because it was a passion. We enjoy taking photos. Mm-hmm. I've never felt like it's a real job, but it's going pretty well. But his point of what if?
Yeah.
Like he said, I'm at 10 years. I'm 10 years in, and I'm only just now starting to think, can this become something really big?
Yeah, that's what blows my mind. Really, 10 years. People spend like 1, 2, 3 years and do something and sort of like let it go.
I think it takes between 5 and 10 years to become really good at your profession.
Yeah, your craft.
From having spoken to other people and other creatives and seeing other people, to really become I use this term, to become like an expert or somebody in your industry that's kind of looked up to.
Yeah.
No one's been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah, 100%.
They've been doing it for 5, 6, 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I don't want to just get to that stage of being at 10 years and then just stay in that industry and do.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I'm not against. I love weddings. I love what I do, but I want to use this experience I want to use this expertise and knowledge now as a platform and a base to grow my next business and to build something bigger.
Yeah.
And Ben was saying much the same, in that he's obviously spent 10 years building this brand, but actually there are things that, by stepping back a little bit and just looking at his overall business, that he started to realise, hold on one second, what if? What if he can just and this is the key, isn't it, right? What if he can just let go of certain elements of the job? Mm-hmm. And you're right on your phone there, Igor?
Yeah, I'm just bringing my notes up. Just bringing my notes up.
I thought you were just going to go on Instagram and just...
No, what you're saying is great.
What if he can just let go of some of those tasks, the day-to-day tasks that hold him back from growing his business? His business, he's obviously a knife maker, but he has people that make better knives in his business than he does now, because they've been trained by him for several years.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And
it got me excited. I was sat there excited for Ben, going, you kind of said about the pillars of his business, and I'm like, yeah. Like, now it's just, how do you turn those dials up a little bit on each one?
Yeah. But it's as well, it's exciting to sort of like, and you said it, it's exciting to be around somebody that is an expert. So you're an expert, Ben's an expert, and they're still asking the question, what if?
Yeah.
If you, and this is the point that I was trying to articulate in my mind that was not formed, but if you've been in the industry for 1, 2, 3 years, or however long, let that inspire you. Let that sort of like propel you forward, because there's no reason. There's no ceiling really these days.
No, not at all. No,
there's no ceiling. You could take your business to wherever you want, as long as you keep asking yourself that question: what if? What if I did this? What if I did that?
Yeah.
What if I implemented this?
I think in those early years, I think you've got to really just soak it all up, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've got to just completely drown yourself in that world. Mm-hmm. And there's just on the top of my mind there was another point that Ben made from somebody else that he'd spoken to about, like, just saying, just be really fucking good at one thing. Just be really good at it.
Yeah.
And I think doing that, and then just kind of just being passionate, just being super passionate about it.
Yeah, I get it.
Gets you to the stage where, maybe you do become an expert in your industry, and you can then build on that that knowledge and that expertise. Sorry, did I take you off track there?
A little bit, but no, it's beautiful there. I just love it. I love it. It's one of those conversations that just leaves me, literally, as I said, I just feel like William Wallace, go and charge creativity and whatever else is out there, really, because the possibilities are truly endless.
Well, there are 27,000 people in for every square mile. So, if a stat like that doesn't blow your mind as to the possibility of scale within any business, then that was it. I so much I took from that conversation. So much I took. And actually, we could say about all three of our guests so far, but these were exactly the conversations that we wanted to have when we set out to do this podcast. We obviously listen to other podcasts, and generally we know the guests because they are famous guests and they're huge, and everybody knows them. We've brought people on that we're not expecting everybody to know, but far from it. And I don't think the guests would expect everybody to know them. But the whole point is that we're having these conversations and discussions with people that, if anybody listens to one of these episodes takes one thing away from each episode, that's amazing. Like, just think of the compound value of that over a year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody needs to listen to us every single week for a year, but great if you do.
No, but if you listen to it and implement it, that's the key. That's the money, really. If you implement it, you'll be flying away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Right, and then we had Mr. Dan Dolan of Dan Dolan Films.
What a dude.
Dan is like salt of the earth kind of guy, isn't he? I said that in an Instagram story the other day. I just love the guy. I think he's brilliant. He is the most just humble, generous with his time and his knowledge. Like guy you could wish to have a chat with.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be down the pub with him, and you'll just hear stories and stories and encouragement. And
he had quite a journey, didn't he? His journey was just incredible. It was scattered with BMXs, filming BMXs, being a MC, doing film production, being a runner for a huge film production company,
movies, being in Harry Potter and all that.
Harry Potter runner extraordinaire. He wasn't actually in Harry Potter. Let's just make that clear. He was a runner for the production company.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from Dan's conversation?
With Dan, I think the main thing really was his character just came across so honest and so humble. And I think as a listener, that's the one thing that we should be taking away towards ourselves and towards our business, really, because he's an accomplished guy and he's done a lot of stuff, and he still comes across like that, if you know what I mean. So that was massive, really, and as well the whole family thing. How he balances things with Hannah and everything else. That was really great.
Yeah, I think because we obviously both work individually on our own. I think for those guys, there's obviously two of them in the business, and I think we kind of talked about it in the episode. Just like loved how they've both complemented each other within their business, and they've both brought their own uniqueness and speciality, like skills to the brand and to the business. And I think that's it's a really good thing to have if you have access to it.
Yeah.
We've talked about it previously about, this being, as great as the industry can be when you're just on your own in an office, Monday to Friday, and you've got no one to, just the importance of having, the importance, I suppose, of having somebody around you or some people around you to soundboard, to develop yourself with, to, be inspired by, is important. Like, if anybody were listening to that took anything, the one thing I would take away from it is to make sure that you're aware of you've got people around you.
Yeah, have your people.
Let's play that clip.
And in terms of stepping into the industry, you've got to go in humble. You've got to just talk to people, and you've got to build relationships, because the relationships you build with other suppliers as a videographer are kind of paramount. If you rock up with a shoulder-mounted Sony Betacam camera and act like a dick, you're not getting recommended to anyone by anyone. So you kind of be humble. Just be like, I'm new. What can I learn from these people around me? I remember the first ever Indian wedding I shot. It was so terrifying. And there was 4 photographers there with 1DX Mark IIs, like literally, like they was the most helpful, friendly people, and they just kind of took me and Hannah under their wing, the collective wings, and helped us through it. So, and that I'd been shooting weddings for a couple of years by then, but just kind of know your place and know where you need to step back and get some help, ask for help, or understand that there's better people there that are better placed to guide you through it. And if you do that, money-wise, yeah, you're probably going to have to compromise on what you're expecting money-wise at the start. That's just the inevitable, steps you take. It's part of the process. I can't really remember what I charged on my second or third weddings. I think it was about £800. First one was completely free. I'm not saying you have to do that. Like, of course, like if you can, but we had friends. So yeah, we had friends that had a wedding venue. So that made it a bit easier for us. But just approach everyone and just be interested and humble. Or like, we live in a world now that is so open and kind of community driven within social media that it's kind of impossible, like, to not find a group or find a network. I struggled with that because I didn't feel very comfortable in kind of putting myself in and going, hello, I'm new. So I was probably quite closed off, and maybe that slowed me down a little bit in terms of, but then that's probably goes back to the little bit of arrogance in coming from the film industry. So yeah, just be humble, just be willing to learn. Don't it's kind of that simple.
Yeah, I think that networking point is massive. I think so many people overlook it or think that it's almost too obvious to be a valid point. But actually, from a photographer's point of view, you actually, if we look at and I'm sure Igor's the same with you guys as well in terms of like recommending you, like you bring value to our couples, that means that we provide a better service because they're buzzing that we've recommended somebody that they actually like and go, oh yeah, we really like this guy and we would never have found him. And that, yeah. So you allow us to provide an improved level of service because we're going, hey guys, right, I know you've asked about video, like, have you looked at this guy? Have you looked at this guy? Because, or this girl, have you looked at this team? Because the market is so vast that actually to have a personal recommendation from a supplier they've chosen already is just invaluable to them.
It is, and I think it's just more credible from the word go because stepping into the wedding industry,
it could be a minefield.
No one's ever done it. Like maybe people have once before or something, but most people have no clue. Like when we got married in 2019, we had no clue, and we'd worked in the industry for 5 years.
Yeah,
and it's terrifying. But I think like what you said there is true, and everyone's kind of always about like, oh, your reputation precedes you. But I think with weddings, the trailing reputation probably carries as much importance, and can help you sort of propagate through the couples you want. Because if you leave sort of, you've been good on the day, you leave a sort of good taste in their mouth, to put it, and then you deliver them the goods, you've kind of left a package there that they can all see. So the amount of inquiries you get off the back of weddings should be quite high, because you should have left that imprint of yourself, and that's so like a trailing reputation. That's what I've just labelled it as. I think.
Yeah, great point.
So I think that's important, and that comes from the relationships with other suppliers, which that for me has always been the fundamental thing, like the relationships with other suppliers.
And like kind of, you're never thinking you're above your station. No. You're a wedding photographer and videographer, and I'll often say to people, like, you never know who's in the room. Oh, I love him. Absolutely love him. Just such a nice guy.
That's what I mean.
So lovely. But it just goes to show like the power of networking. Just building relationships with suppliers, with your couples, like just getting other people to be able to champion you. Mm-hmm. Like, never ever overlook that.
No, 100%.
Actually, one of my old work colleagues, I'm still friends with now. I can still remember him saying it a long time ago. The best part of 12, 14 years ago. Just as the internet was kind of, really kind of kicking off, I suppose, as such. Yeah, I'm almost 40.
I'm joking.
Just saying to me, like, people can have all these social channels and networks all they want, but you can't beat a bit of 1980s networking. You really can't. People
That's
buy
a good way of putting
1980s networking, because people... And actually, I look at his career, he's gone on to do incredibly well within brands, within fashion brands. And he's built his career through building connections with people. Mm-hmm. He's climbed the ladder of the corporate world, granted, but he's climbed that ladder because he's built relationships and connections with people. And if you're not doing that in your industry, you're missing a trick.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah. Because this is the people that will be the champions, that will be ambassadors for you, really. And yeah, that's where the importance of just simply being a nice
really
human...
suits you, this colour, I like it. It's a nice, it's like sand. It's a sand-ish.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Marrakesh.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get...
It goes really nicely with the white too.
Yeah, good old Sahara.
Sorry, I forget that people are listening to this on Spotify and Apple, but if not, it is also on YouTube. Sorry, Igor, I just thought of it and I thought I'd tell you.
What was I saying? No, it's just the whole importance of just being a nice human being, really, and looking people in the eye and just paying attention to them when you're actually having a short conversation, because those are the people that, again, that will champion your business. And it's
not even just suppliers though. It's like, it might just be a guest at a wedding. Mm-hmm. Just go and be nice to people. Like, be all the time. Just be nice. Like, I'm not saying people aren't nice, but just once you remember that, or once you realise that anybody can go away and talk about you positively and go, so-and-so at this wedding that I was at, and obviously there are people listening to this that aren't in the wedding industry, but I think it relates across the board, can go away and go, they were great.
Yeah.
They had a great experience.
And it says so much about you as a person, really, because yes, your work might be amazing, but if you have the sort of character that people don't really want to spend time with, what's the point?
You ain't going far.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, know what I mean?
Yeah. We also talked about data management, didn't we, with Dan?
He started talking about it, and I was just
one of a kind.
My eyes just open wide, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. We're going in the rabbit hole. We're going in. Everybody strap. Hold fast. Hold it. But no, he's great.
I mean, he knows his stuff.
Exactly.
He really does. And he's and what I love about him as well is just how passionate he is about all of those parts of his business.
Yeah.
But he was very self-aware as well, though, wasn't he? Like, talking about his anxiety of not being able to answer the phone and to respond to emails, and allowing Hannah to do that. But how he's obviously developed and grown over the last few years, because he's had to step up to do that. When you're a small business, you have to do all these tasks.
You have to do stuff that you
don't necessarily feel comfortable doing.
That's it. Yeah.
No, it was good. It was good. It was it's been a really positive start. I've really enjoyed each guest that's come on board. I think they felt really comfortable in chatting with us, and I hope that anybody that has listened to these episodes, if they can just take like one thing away from each episode, like one valuable piece of information or an experience or a lesson or something, then that's huge, isn't it? Again, it's that compound value of over time.
Yeah. And and this is the key, really, if they implement that one thing that they've learned, it's incredible what you can do over a space of a year of episodes or whatever else.
I really feel like I've taken things away from each episode and gone, especially since we've had the guests on. Yeah, I've taken something away from each one and gone, that's okay. Like Ben talking about like his business strategy now and how he's going to create these pillars, and I was like, I can kind of apply that to my business. Sophie going on about marketing and the Google guy, Google man. It's just like I can take lessons from that and implement it into my business. Dan, like, just what was my favourite bit about Dan? I've got so many things I love about Dan, so I don't need to go into that one. But there's just been so much from each one that I think that was really the purpose of us setting up this podcast, was to have those conversations. And so far, it's gone all right, but this is still just early days.
Yeah, but
we're still learning.
I was going to go back from your point of, and also as well as an audience, I'm loving the fact that we're building a community, and we're starting to see, well, at least from the DMs and everything else, we're starting to see a little pattern of certain people that we.
Yep. Some people like dropping the kids off on a Monday morning at school and then going, right, I'm listening to that podcast.
And also familiar faces that constantly keep showing up, which is incredible to see. We are not, we're so grateful, and we do not take it for granted. So thank you. And yeah, that's what it's about, really. We really want to build a community. We really want to build an audience that is invested in this. And at the same time, we are providing a sheer good amount of value. So yeah, it's exciting, but I've got a question for you.
Go for it.
So we've done probably 10, 11 episodes, and I want you to sort of like pick a favorite one.
You want me to pick a favourite child whilst we're at it?
Yes, that's it.
So I'll tell you what, I'm not going to pick between the guests, because that's, you know, let's go pre-guests.
Pre-guests.
So what have we got? The introduction.
Just me and you.
So the introduction, I mean, that was only 5 minutes, but right, 10 ways to impact your business. Yeah, that was good. Meet Sam and Igor. People loved the Q&A. Yeah. That was popular. Money Matters was really good.
Yeah.
And actually, that was probably the one that surprised us the most, because so many people messaged to say that it's so good that you're talking about that, because it's still such a taboo subject.
It really is.
So much so that we've managed to get, well, I hope we're in the final sort of talks with them to get somebody on board who's financially qualified, or qualified as a financial advisor, to be able to come and, you know, have a deeper conversation around finances and business structure and setup.
Because it's easy for us to sort of like say what we think and say what our experiences are.
Yeah, the
in terms of finance.
The FSA haven't called me yet, so
but we are not financial experts.
We are not financial experts, so we have to be very careful. What else have we got? The Q&A. Yeah, that was great. Love the Q&A. I think How to Be Inspired Creatively was my favourite one. I don't know, just like I loved like the nostalgia side of it. I loved hearing about your inspirations and kind of discovering a few new things. I've obviously been and watched Interstellar since you told me to watch Interstellar.
Come on.
It's got me excited about watching Pan's Labyrinth with the kids when they're a little bit older than they are at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to go with How to Be Inspired Creatively.
Good.
Funny, actually enough, yesterday, I forgot to tell you this, on Instagram, one of my suggested follows accounts was Basquiat.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I follow Basquiat on Insta.
It was beautiful. Yeah. I had to scroll through. It was great.
Yeah, I need to. That's
It did make me think, has Instagram been listening?
Yeah, probably. That's really random as well. Basquiat.
Yeah.
It's not, that's really random.
Anyway, what about you?
This is the thing. Okay. I think, and I'm not sure what I said or not, but yeah, I think the Q&A episode was my favorite, and even Zai said it a couple of days ago that was her favorite. But yeah, the Q&A episode, I think it was my favorite because.
How come?
First of all, I think that being in that space. Okay, let's say it this way. I think I know we're experts in that industry. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we love what we're talking about, these kind of things about photography and whatever else, growing our businesses. And in that conversation, it's really evident that we just like, okay, we're in our element. We're strong at what we're talking about. Yep. We're getting passionate about what we're talking about.
We're confident about it, aren't we?
Yes, exactly.
You know, that's our world.
Yeah.
And
we love that scenario. So yeah, I love that. That riffing, really.
Yeah.
And the sort of like, it's not scripted. And even though we thought about the questions and everything else, it just feels really natural. That's the main point. And I really like that about it.
But that comes back to the whole point of, you know, we're trying to make ourselves feel a bit uncomfortable. And we've done 3 episodes with guests. We've never done it before. We've never sat and interviewed anybody, and we're giving it a shot because we can't. Well, we've said it a few times. We can't give advice to people and say, look, you need to make yourself feel uncomfortable, and not do something for ourselves that makes us feel uncomfortable. Like, we've got to do it. But each time we do it, we take a little bit away from it, and we figure something out. We learn from each episode, and over time we're going to grow, and it's going to become something, hopefully where it becomes our field of expertise, and we can go, okay, we're good at interviewing now. Like, we feel comfortable doing it, and we're going to help other people. It's a constant cycle of becoming an expert in an industry and passing on that knowledge to other people.
Yeah, and constantly growing, just growing for not for the sake of.
I'd be intrigued to know what other people's favourite episodes are.
So
it'd
be really
let
good.
us know. Pop it on Instagram, on Facebook, in the comments on YouTube, wherever it might be. Let us know.
Let us know what's your favourite. And we truly do not take it for granted, the fact that you guys listen to this little old podcast. And we are truly grateful. So
absolutely. Thanks for getting involved. Thanks for tuning in and giving us your time. We hope that we bring value and worth to it's people's time's precious, right? And we want to make sure that we're bringing some good content to people. So we're excited to see where this goes. We're only 10-11 episodes in, but we're committed. We genuinely hope that this community is going to grow, and we're going to build something here that it's going to be around for a while to come, but we'll just see where it goes, won't we?
That's it.
So right, thank you very much. We'll let you get on with your day.
Thank you.
Or your week, wherever you're at.
In the next episode.
Cheers, guys.